The Iranians are showing an ability to get intelligence information inputs in the morning and strike in the afternoon with deadly effect. And also, they're starting to expand their target deck. Remember, they didn't invent the concept of regime change. That was Israel on day one, killing Ali Khamenei. Last night, the Iranians struck the home of Benjamin Netanyahu. They killed his brother. They struck the home of Ben Gvir. He is seriously wounded, may not survive. Iran is going to start to take out the totality of Israel's leadership. This is the reality of this conflict. Israel played the regime change game. It's going to be the Israelis that are going to be paying the highest price. The Iranians are no longer wearing kid gloves. They've taken them off, and they're coming in bare knuckle.
They're reporting it. This is interesting. I looked it up as soon as you said it. The BBC is reporting it as Ben Gvir was in a car accident last night. Does that surprise you?
They can report it any way they want. We know that his home is on fire, so maybe he crashed his car into his house.
That's interesting. The only reason I just can't help but be amused by this, because it would not surprise me for the BBC to provide cover for a story like this. Yeah, you and I
now know that the BBC reporters that work overseas are vetted by MI6 before they're allowed to take on their assignments.
Tonight, late night update. Sleeper cells are getting activated as it's part of the new diplomacy to really encourage the world, let alone Americans, to support this new war, which is really the oldest war and the oldest objective of Israeli blueprints. So we're going to dive into it now as the justifications change, like pothole moves, the American president. Late night update. We sat here. Okay, we are sat here. Well, I think we are. Anyways, good evening, everybody. Good evening, wherever you find yourself. This is Dean Ryan here with a late night update, live from Studio B, running around like a headless chicken as the news of 2026 has been... It's been as sturdy as a carousel, that I can tell you. Tonight is just that. We're going to be getting into everything about sleeper cell diplomacy, as now a new Ayatollah has emerged. The new objectives or justification for this war with Iran is emerging from Trump, as now we can clearly state, as you saw in the cold opening there with Scott Ritter, well, it is a defeat. It is a strategic blunder of a defeat for the United States and our puppet master, Israel, to the point, as you just saw there, and we might have to watch that again just because I can't stop till I get enough here. Ben Gvir, the number 2 over there in Israel, and Netanyahu himself, their residents were struck by Iranian ballistic missiles as of last night. Where we can report to you that the missile that struck Ben Gvir, if you don't know who's the number 2 in the Likud party, that's the party of Netanyahu, the most militant, genocidal political party we've ever seen since the Third Reich, some might have said. But we can report to you that Ben Gvir has been struck to the point of critical condition, meaning he's probably dead. That we can share with you. Also, Netanyahu reports are still floundering at this moment, but it looks like he might be a goner too. If not, he might play dead, play possum to get out of the unraveling occupied territory known as Israel. And if you didn't see or hear about, it's so bad that there's a blockade now in Israel of just exactly the damage being done by Iran in their ballistic missiles, as the hand of Iran has been forced by a war of choice, a war of aggression, and a war of wagging the dog. That's right. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So therefore, there's only one thing left to do. Well, actually two. One is the hors d'oeuvre and one is the main dish. Well, one would be activate the sleeper cells. Let's call them Iranians and let's go to party. Meaning let's start the war with that and rally up the Americans like it's 2002 all over again. Then the final act here, as I coined it well over a year ago in the World at War episode called Israel's Last Days. Well, that's clearly what's at stake now and what we're now witnessing as the final days of Israel are here. It's a cataclysmic ending. And now you know why they wanted to resurrect and keep resurrecting the Ukrainian war, is that's supposed to be Israel 2.0. Now, why are they hitting, as Scott Ritter so eloquently has said and stated, I wish he would come on the show, but he can't find me either. So, but as they eloquently said, Israel's entire defense system capabilities is relied on the United States. In our missiles that we started with when this conflict began, there was roughly about 4,000 P-3 missiles, which are the defense ones, which the Israeli Golden Arch, the dome, not the arch, the Golden Dome, the one they use, excuse me. Those are not capable of detecting the advanced missiles that Iran is now using, that they've been stockpiling time and time again. The radars they have, first of all of our radars and all of our bases in the United States have been taken out in the Gulf areas, and the capabilities of the Golden Dome are nowhere near the defense needed to secure a country, as they cannot find these new ballistic missiles that Iran's doing. So first, Iran used all of their old stuff, their old material, to bog down deplete the munitions of Israel / U.S. Now they're going in for the kill shots. And this is a big deal. And now, in addition to that, you have Saudi Arabia, who is furious, as in good faith and probably not moral faith, but in good relations, they thought they had a golden deal with Trump and Israel, only to find out in the past 48 hours now that Israel's Mossad has been caught in the Gulf refineries, one of them being over there in Qatar and another one close to Saudi Arabia. The Israeli Mossad was caught trying to plot an event of complete, only to blame it on Iran in the most flagrant false flag we've seen, or at least caught in this case, in quite some time. And you better believe another one has formed during the open borders. That was the whole plan. You know, that's why you heard reports coming out of Mike Adams and other independents saying in Panama during the open migration of the Biden years, well, there was these NGOs, some of them being connected, if not led by Ben Shapiro himself, Mr. Pain and Eyebrows, leading in the migrants of the military-age men into the United States for a greater purpose. And here we are. Here's the greater purpose, because now all the talk of the town is about the sleeper cells and the wonderful diplomacy they have for us Americans. There you have it. And you know it's here too, because that's just exactly what was caught by the Saudis, and reports are now saying that Netanyahu, if he's still with us amongst the living, is essing his shorts, just to let you know. So that's how that one. What a start for tonight's show, isn't it? Anyways, we were going to have I believe we were going to have Mr. Ranger Buck call in if he's here tonight. I lost all his information if he can hear me, but he has a wonderful narrative to share. We might get him in the second half of tonight. Also, here's some other things that are pressing before we get back to our sleeper cells that we're going to try to tackle here. We have a mysterious call now that has been reportedly been done by Trump and Putin that had Trump, now he's backpedaling a little bit. Yes and no. He's also showing pictures of nuclear bombs, you know, the old pics. Anyways, a mysterious call took place. We'll see what happened that could have changed the course or did change the course of history. We'll see what that's all about. We have other news in the domestically. We have new power leaders, the new tech leaders, the new tech giants are changing now. A lot of them put a lot of money and stock into this administration, but now there seems to be a new leader in the tech world. I didn't suspect this one. We'll talk about that. We have some weird news coming out of, I'm not even sure I want to do this, out of Los Angeles. The state of mind of people is declining, if you haven't noticed. If not the miracle jabbed, just all the influence and the toxicity, people are losing their damn mind. This could be the zombie apocalypse, as we know. As man severed something off in LA was all the talk. We'll see if we can get to that one. It's going to be a hard one. Also, in addition to that, just only the top, creme de la top here. Yes, Marco Rubio is stepping up to the plate. As I suspected, a lot of people seem to be sidestepping or backing away from Donald Trump, and Marco Rubio has the nail and he has the coffin to make a major move during this time of vulnerability for Donald Trump. And many reports say he's jockeying for position, or he looks like a horse jockey, one or the other. I mean, he is such. Have you seen Marco Rubio's bathhouse music video out there? You might see that during the break. So hell of a bass player, let me add. So yeah, there's that. We'll see what that's all about. Yeah. Talk about the school of children over there in Tehran. 165 to 170 girls were innocently murdered. And how are people talking about this? And what does this administration have to say about it? Who shot it? I have a feeling it's not Iran or the U.S., based on recent history, and I should say history in general. But it is a crime against humanity. And therefore, you could see a prolonged effort to make war, continue war, in order to not face crimes at home. Basically what Netanyahu's doing. So we'll have a look at that. And also your comments, questions, and or concerns, as there's so much to be had and taken in by all this. Okay, so let's get started here. As we are broadcasting live on Dean Ryan TV over there on YouTube, as well as Rumble at the Real Deal Media channel. And we are not on Facebook live anymore because of censorship. Okay, there's that one. And also tonight is brought to you by GiveSendGo's Bring Back World at War, which I can honestly say we are close to our approximate destinations of ignition. Yeah, help bring back the #1 late night show, World at War, by going to GiveSendGo.com/World at War. That's GiveSendGo.com/World at War. Thank you to all those who have. You know who you are out there. You make it happen. Okay, let's get started now with some headlines from around the world here at Studio B. You know, the way I see it too is these shows here are kind of like what MTV Unplugged was for those groups back in the day, isn't it? You're kind of seeing like a real newsroom as it happens kind of ordeal. So it is one of a kind. Okay, so here is what's happening now. Well, the lead story, the title of tonight's episode is Sleeper Cell Diplomacy, because that seems what it has been. I mean, NATO used Operation Gladio for these type of procedures where you create and wreak havoc. I mean, who remembers the Bondi Beach shooting over there in Australia just recently? I mean, forms of communication comes in many, many different settings and shades. Well, you think about it, it was at Bondi. Was that a message to Pam Bondi? This has been what's swirling in my head. Let's get to this one here. Now, this is coming out of the lamestream urine-soaked media is now Iran may be activating sleeper cells outside the country, alert says. Well, it's almost like I wrote this myself 2 years ago and just mailed it to the Postmaster General over there in D.C., and they used it and sent it to Pete Hegseth, or in this case, little Marco Rubio, the little secretary that could, and he certainly tries. Well, the U.S. Has now intercepted encrypted communications believed to have originated in Iran. That's what they believe. They don't know if it's true, but it's a belief. They may serve as, quote, an operational trigger for sleeper assets outside the country, according to a federal government alert sent to law enforcement agencies who are familiar with the sleeper cells. An operational trigger. Well, I certainly, I mean, I'm feeling triggered. I must have intercepted that operational trigger as well. I think we're all a little triggered. Maybe it was for us. Well, now the alert reviewed by ABC News, who's very trusted around the world, cites, quote, preliminary signals analysis, of a transmission, quote, likely of Iranian origin. Likely. Likely. I mean, it could be from Tacoma, Washington, but it likely is from Tehran, Iran in this case. So, and that's our belief. We're going to go with that. Well, that was relayed across multiple countries shortly after the death of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, was killed just days ago. Now, think about this too. Now, if you're to take this with a full grain of hard rock salt here, you have the son of the Ayatollah Khamenei. All their names are so the same. It's like the same in North Korea too. There's Kim Jong-un, Kim Jong-yang, Kim Jong-un. So we could be talking about 5 different people all in the same name. But in this case, now the son, his father was killed, who's now being crowned the new leader. His wife was slaughtered by the Israelis, and his daughter. So if you take that to put it into the equation here, if your loved ones were literally slaughtered, maimed, and you're being held hostage in your own country, what is your reaction going to be? I'm not sure let's get back to the negotiation table, because that's exactly what the United States is doing in their back channels right now via Italy, is trying to get the Italians, at behest of them, us, to tell the Iranians we need a ceasefire. We can't keep up anymore. You see? They said under no circumstances. That's right. Now, the intercepted transmission was encoded and appeared to be destined for clandestine recipients. Yes, who possessed the encryption key. So the keymaster was looking for the gatekeeper, and they found each other. And they have the encrypted keys in it, kind of message intended to impact instructions for, quote, covert operatives or sleeper assets. Covert operatives or sleeper assets. Which one are you? Without the use of internet or cellular networks. So I don't know how that works. What, smoke signals? Well, it's possible the transmission, they're saying now, might be intended to activate and provide instructions to pre-position sleeper assets operating outside the originating country. Now, if we rewind a little bit here, about a year, let's go back to 2024 and then pouring over in the first part of 2025, but really last year, that's fine. Anytime there was a halt in the Israeli objectives, and it seemed that the Trump administration was lagging or was not going to participate. Well, we saw some random shootings in this country, did we not, in 2025? You have the firefighters over there in Idaho respond to a fire. All of a sudden, there's a sniper in the trees. Same thing in L.A. I want to say in Culver City or Marina Del Rey, you had just a rando sniper. Then let's really rewind it back to Christmas of 2020. You had the Nashville bombing, the almost would-be bombing, which was a IED. Okay, and then you also had like 5 active shooters, 5 to 7 active shooters in multiple states during that time. Not a word about it. You know why? Because it was all Mossad. They wanted Trump out, and whoever this guy is, they're controlling. And I'm going to get to what I think and I believe they're going to get this character to do. So there we have it. So, we're getting through this now. And I love the quotes here. They're so anything but just precise. They're so confusing. Double speak, war's peace. Everything that we learned in 1984 is coming back to reality here in 2026. Now, here's another quote here regarding the alert. While the exact contents of these transmissions cannot currently be determined, the sudden appearance of a new station with international rebroadcast characteristics warrants heightened situational awareness. Well, looks like the State Department's using AI to write their articles, aren't they? Man, where were these people here in college when I needed them? So the alert also, in closing, the alert conclusively says that, quote, there is no operational threat tied to specific locations, meaning just like white supremacists used to be, behind your couch, underneath your car, KKK were everywhere just about 10 years ago. Well, those guys are retired now, like the flu. And now they have new Iranians that are taking the place, and they're the new boogeyman. They're in everybody's way, causing, they're ready to attack it anywhere. We don't know where, but wherever we say. We saw the Bush people do it with, remember all the different colors, red, yellow, orange threats. Anyways, we've since graduated from that. So this is it here. Here's the new diplomacy of sleeper cells. In fact, here's a little Marco Rubio trying to muster up the courage and rally up the troops here in the United States, because he's a big man who's going to send your kids to war. Here he is.
Meantime, an alarming report of threats outside Iran. ABC News reports Iran may be activating sleeper cells. Quote, the U.S. has intercepted encrypted communications believed to have originated in Iran that may serve as an operational trigger for sleeper assets outside the country. If true, further illustrating Secretary of State Marco Rubio's point, we are fighting a terrorist government.
The United States is currently engaged in an operation targeting the world's leading hostage taker, the world's leading sponsor of terrorism. They are trying to hold the world hostage. They are attacking their neighbors. They are attacking neighboring countries, their energy infrastructure, their civilian population. They're attacking embassies. This is a terrorist government. This is a terroristic regime. And we are seeing them conduct terrorism using nation-state elements, using weapons like missiles and one-way attack drones. And the objective of this mission is to destroy their ability to continue to do that.
But Iran's...
All right. Enough about Israel. What about Iran? What about Iran, Marco? Captain Obvious there talking about Israel all the time. What's he obsessed with it? Well, that's just it. Everything he said literally has been said by all of us in some way about Israel. And here we are again, getting gaslit by little Marco. Now, what about little Marco? Speaking of which, before I forget, well, they're now saying that he is the jockeying type. Now, that can mean all kinds of things, but in this sense, not necessarily just his prepositioned form, meaning his what is he, 5'1"? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he is, but he is the right size to be that. Well, now the Iran war now has elevated Marco Rubio, a man who's been called demon, has been called Satan throughout Latin America, a man who rose to power by the Zionist money and does everything they want over there in Florida as a congressman. And even to the point through the Epstein files, which we've learned, he is the original Russian dossier individual. It wasn't John McCain the whole time. It was little Marco. And that's why we hate him. But in this case now, Trump has been informally polling his circle of friends and advisors about the 2028 election coming up, which I can't even think about right now, which could pit some of his top administration officials against one another. Well, there's a lot of talk that Trump is no fan of J.D. Vance. He seems to like Marco Rubio. He seems to respect people that don't like him. Very much like Alex Jones is the same way. You can do a great job. You can be a great worker. You'd be so nice to him. He hates you and respects people that are very devious. I see a similarity here. Now, just recently now, the Trump administration joined Israel in launching the war, but it's in the wake of everything in Iran and the Middle East. A lot of people are coming out, champions, winners, losers, and certainly, and you heard it on our last show, Marco Rubio gave a speech in front of the EU that was quite riveting, sent shockwaves through the EU's beltways of politics. I mean, really, just Marco out of all the people. But in this case now, as now the battlefields are shipping and shaping into the midterms in 2028. A lot of people are saying Marco, he could have been a contender. He might be a contender. We're not too sure about J.D. Vance. And that's why he's making tough decisions, very brazen and bold, as he's showing off for what he believes a endorsement from Donald Trump will send him as skyrocketing as the GOP main nominee. Now, in addition to that, for months now, for many, many months, J.D. Vance has been seen as the front runner of the 2028 presidential race, a dynamic underscored by most public polling, in Trump's own comments. And that's interesting, too. What polls are they using? Because, we're finding out how insulated Donald Trump is, that they're showing him polls of the American people overwhelmingly supporting this stupid, huge, and just disgraceful thing that we're doing in Iran. He thinks it's popular. That's what some people are reporting. I don't know. And he only watches Fox News. That is true. I can tell you that for a fact. Working in the circles on projects, yeah, he only watches Fox News. He doesn't read newspaper or anything. It's just Fox, which I can't even watch 5 minutes of. Now, so a lot of people, insiders, are saying that Vance was most likely the heir of the MAGA movement or whatever's left of it, and probably favored at this point, but mention it now in the same breath as Marco Rubio. As you see, he is quite viable. He's all over the place. Trump also mentioned Rubio in recent interviews when he claimed and named him as, quote, a great potential GOP leader. You see that? He's already made a choice. Here's a quote. I would say one is slightly more diplomatic than the other, Trump said without naming names. I think they're both of very high intelligence. So he's talking about J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio. So what does that mean? This is a man who is heavily involved in our foreign policy, heavily involved in the Adelson's directives as well. There's a little Marco for you. I want to show you this video here. Was the wars now just kind of dwindling down? This next video, I'm going to show you just a few here. They're hit so bad in Israel that just like last time, people are fleeing. Now, the people who've had money in Israel, the rich Israelis, a handful of them, they've left a long time ago. I guess it's not the promised land anymore. I guess they got to find a new one in India, which now India has really chosen bad by making them a sister country. Well, this is what it looks like now at the Gravir airport. And they're finding as many troubles as we are here in the States. The only difference is there's no connecting flights. There's no flights in general, period, leaving Israel as of right now. Quote, Axl Rose, do you know where you are? You're in the jungle. You're in the jungle, the war jungle, and they're all stuck. They're stuck. They can't go. Communications are being taken down. Tel Aviv is a complete blackout of the damage. Unbelievable. They're starting to turn. There's going to be upmost reactionary riots, I would believe, if not happening already. And we're also talking about 87% of the population that said they're fine with what's happening in Gaza. In fact, we want more, and we want to take Lebanon too. And maybe they did. Yeah, so there you have it. That's what's happening right there. They're not able to leave, and we can't protect them anymore. We don't have the missile capability. No, we don't. We can't be their bodyguard. No, we can't. So that's happening there. Now, check this out. This is, I don't understand it, but this is Trump changing now everything that I've showed you, now changing the narrative ever so slightly, because Hegeseth, he was asked, what's the objective? Nobody knows. And now we've lost, what is it, 6 United States military personnel. A total of 6 have died. There could be more on the way. And this is the explanation, I think. And then also what he really thinks of the Iranian people.
Because this was always a dark cloud hanging over not only Israel, which was going to get wiped out. You know, if we didn't do that B-2 attack, Israel would have been wiped out. They would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks after that. And even now, I think they were looking to take over the Middle East, because when you look, and we have pretty good proof, all of those missiles that were so stupidly aimed at Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, they were all aimed, and others, at countries that were sort of like, leave us alone. They were all right. They were sort of neutral, but they weren't doing it. All of a sudden, they're getting hit with missiles. And they could have gone one of 2 ways. They could have gone toward their side, like, we're with you, or they could have gone with our side, and they really went with our side, and they've helped us, and they've been a big force. But they got hit. But they were going to be hit with us. Had we not done the B-2 raid, and if we not done this one, where we said, nope, it's time to go in, we have to go in, have no choice. Number one, if we didn't go in, they would have come in after us, because I see the Democrats trying to justify it, and they're failing because the voter on the street is saying, you've got to be kidding.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Mr. President, you've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared?
Well, I think you
for
could
this
say
war
it
to last
both.
for?
The beginning, it's the beginning of building a new country, but they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment. It's all been blown up. They have no radar, they have no telecommunications, and they have no leadership. It's all gone. So, you know, you could look at that statement. We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further. But
Well, we have the military helicopters right over me. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't know if you can hear that. Yeah, it is wartime, definitely. Or I'm on the set of MASH, one or the other. So there you heard a spinning justification, also a really insulting kind of term and view of Iranians, of Persian people that clearly Trump, or the character playing him, doesn't understand. In fact, the amount of anger now coming out of Trump, the most recent amount of anger, is now being directed at Australia. For Australia is welcoming and hosting, I believe, the women's soccer World Cups, the playoffs. And God forbid, the women's Iranian soccer team is headed to Australia, no problems. And that's not good enough. They should be canceled, is what Trump is saying. Now, it's quite bizarre behavior, right? The Trump we see today, who is literally taking a page out of the Bush doctrine, taking a page out of the Clinton doctrine in 1998 in the wake of the Monica Lewinsky scandal. Who remembers Clinton sending missiles to Somalia, and a little conflict there. So these are classic wag the dog moments. There's nothing unique or different about it than previous years. So that's what he's saying about it. Now, check this out. Where does Russia fit into this whole ordeal? Now, Russia said a while ago that the reason they're not going to stop the Israeli aggression into Gaza or get a combatant in any way. Well, they're saying because they have Russian Jews that live in Israel and it would be against their morality clause, whatever they call it. But that's not necessarily the case now. Look at this here. This is what just happened and took place in Lebanon. I don't know. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, South Lebanon, Russia's. Read this for you. Yeah, the Israel bombed the house of the Russian culture of Nobatia, southern Lebanon, Russia's. Oh my God. Russia's Rosso Trudnitstvo has confirmed the strike and says an official statement that Israel has now attacked the cultural property of the UN Security Council. So that's the UN Security Council, the same council that has issued arrest warrants for who? Netanyahu, but also soon to be Trump with war crimes if and when the Democrats come back to power. I mean, this is Rome all over again, isn't it? So there you have it. Hopefully you can read that. Now, let me just add to that a bit. The ICC, the criminal court is in South Africa, but in this case, southern Lebanon just happens to be the next country altogether in general that Israel has plans on taking. And now the Saudis found out they had plans on taking them out, or had plans to get the Saudis involved in a greater war with Iran. This is classic Israel, to false flag their way to the objectives, because the ends always justify the means, no matter how nasty, how dirty they are. It doesn't matter. This is how the Rothschilds played, and when they started their banking cartels. This is how the Zionists played when they took over Anastasia and her family and slaughtered them over 100 years ago. Not much has changed. Not much has changed there. And you know it's real, too, because now look at this. Well, what do you have it here? We have troops now having to retreat. That's right. There it is, right there. Breaking the U.S. has now announced the withdrawal from military bases in Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Iraq, Jordan. What is the other one there? United Arab Emirates, Syria, and other Gulf countries. The footage clearly shows, the picture rather, shows that Iran has won the war. Yeah, that's true. We have no bases anymore that are functionable. They've all been struck by Iran, who deems them as a clear and present danger, as they are surrounded by a U.S.-Israeli presence, if not in full military form, but in a puppetry government kind of ordeal. Also, yeah, so we have a major withdrawal there. I want to show you this important message from Putin. Let me get back on the other side here, because Putin is now beginning to, he's beginning to beat his chest in wake of what we just saw there in southern Lebanon. So I'm going to tell you what he says, and also we're going to take it with what did Mr. Abe Blinken, former of the Biden administration, what did he say their pressures were from Israel during that time? Interesting. Anyways, we're going to check that out. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take this quick break and get back to more of these late night headlines from around the world that you need to know about, as it is a time of war. Stand by. We'll be back after this quick message. Don't want to miss it.
Look, this has been a long story when it comes to Iran. And back during the Obama administration, the Israelis were pushing President Obama to take military action against Iran, and were warning that they would do it themselves if he didn't. And he wouldn't, because he thought the better way to get at the nuclear program, which is what we were focused on, was through very muscular diplomacy backed up by very, very strong sanctions that we rallied the world to put in place. And then we got the Iran nuclear agreement.
Jewish populations by country.
Okay, we are back. We're back as tonight is brought to you by Give, Send, Go. Help bring back the #1 late night show, World at War, where it all began, where it all ends. The #1 late night shadow band show is reportedly said to be weeks, if not 10 days away, but it needs that extra courage from all of you. And you can do that by going to givesendgo.com/world at war, givesendgo.com/world at war. I mean, can you imagine if we had like Tim Pool budget? Although I don't know if I could sell out that way. not that anyone would buy, but you know what I mean? Imagine that, what it could be and what it is without. Well, also tonight is brought to you by the Real Deal Media members, who get exclusive, if not all, content regarding all the shows, behind the scenes, as they all are taking part in the race to save the West. Who remembers that one? What a wonderful, wonderful ordeal. Okay. Now let's get back to sleeper cell diplomacy as Late Night Update continues. Welcome back, everybody. I'm still Dean Ryan, who is cruising with you to midnight and beyond. Yes, you can go to realdealmedia.tv tonight, become that member. Anyways, yeah, we have a bit more to go here. I'm going to start focusing on the live chats as well. And I'm sweating profusely, as you can see, because it's overwhelming. It is. I've been also told to advise people. I guess there's a super chat feature on YouTube. I don't know too much about it. In fact, I know nothing. This is all new to me. So feel free to, I guess it's on Rumble as well. I don't know how they work, but feel free if you want to try it out. We are brought to you by and for the people. Okay, so there's that. All right, now, yeah, as I was saying there, we seem to be retreating. We seem to be retreating. The war's won, not by us, although we're going to claim victory. We, as in this administration, but there's something that went on with Putin in a call with Trump, I believe, today. They said a mysterious call changed the mood forever. What could that be? Let's find out before we show the footage here. Well, now Trump is now floating the ending war in Iran after a mysterious call with Putin. This is coming out of the Daily Mail. Trump has now suggested his war with Iran could be coming soon to an end, just hours after completing a mysterious phone call with Vladimir Putin. Now, Trump told reporters U.S. forces are very far ahead of schedule, claiming Iran's military has effectively been destroyed. Now, call me crazy. Is the real ending of the war, could it be because we don't have the munitions and we don't have the bases anymore? Also, could it be for the fact that maybe my strategy was used of taking us to the brink of war, slightly making a U-turn and having the Iranians do the right thing and fire upon people like Netanyahu and Ben-Gvir, maybe because they're dead. That's why the war is ending. Also, that's a third option. Well, Trump has now told reporters recently, just today to be exact, that U.S. forces are, quote, very far ahead of schedule and have effectively destroyed all of the enemies in question. That's right. He said, quote, I think the war is very much complete, pretty much. Trump's remarks came after a mysterious phone call with Vladimir Putin, shared a proposal to quickly ending the war during the phone call. Now, according to the Kremlin, the call was made. The two leaders were also discussing the current war in Ukraine. I mean, what's more to discuss about that shitbag of a war? You know what I mean? We have Scarface, who was placed into Ukraine by the Mossad, who's bar tab in the cocaine bars are just racking sky high. He doesn't even know what's going on. So who's controlling Ukraine? Well, it's the U.S. because all of their defense systems have been dependent on us, the taxpayers. That's true. Now, Trump's remarks, quickly end the war, it came after a mysterious call. Now, here is something interesting. The stock market has fallen greatly. Everyone knows that. 200 points down. We learned that, too, in the Epstein deposition with Bondi, who came there to give us a Dow Jones report. That was very thoughtful of her. But it's undeniable now that the closure of the Strait of Hormuz has really put a dent into the U.S. economy and the West for that fact. In fact, you might have noticed, depending where you are in the country of the U.S., that certain gas stations have completely shot up in their price per gallon. I can show you if I have it with me, but where I am now, gas is about $5.59 for 87 unleaded octane, which is, I only use 89, 87, but some people use it. So that gives you a clear indication of where things are going. Price for food is up now. It's skyrocketing. Americans are already feeling the pinch. They're now saying that the gasoline prices now averaging $3.40 in some parts of the country, which I believe is cheap compared to where I'm. That's now up from $2.90 before the war. So a week ago, it was $2.90 average. Now it's up an entire dollar. Which he said if you recall last week, Trump said, well, that's just a little price we have to pay because we have to save little old Israel, who's completely harmless and always the victim. But what does this mean exactly? What does this mean? Well, now that there's a new Ayatollah, Trump said today that he's not happy with Khamenei as the Islamic regime's new dictator. Well, what happened to people were in the streets dancing. They were dancing in the streets, just like the song. They were going to be freed from the shackles and the chains of the Islamic regime. And now they're running back to the Islamic regime. Wait a minute. This was not in the pamphlet. How did this happen? Well, he's telling close aides now, Trump, that he would support killing Iran's new supreme leader, too, if he refuses to abandon the country's nuclear program. Does Donald Trump not seem to understand that we don't have enough bullets and bombs to do his wagging of the dog to cover up what the hell's in the Epstein files that has his name on it? Unless he wants to get a bunch of shotguns and his sons and their hunting buddies to go take out the supreme leader. I'm getting reports now, people throughout all of the military branches, especially the young people, they're protesting, and a lot of them are beginning to quit and not want to do this. Nobody wants to die for the Israeli wars anymore. Okay, so I don't seem to understand that. And I'm telling you, it's more and more that I think Forseti was right about Donald Trump being a Mossad agent after all. Asset at the very least. So yeah, he's floating that idea now. So the war is over, but the assassination squads, those are still a go. Now the vengeful hardline cleric, as he's now being described here in the American media, is already marked for assassination by Israel, which vowed to eliminate whoever succeeded the slain Ayatollah and killed his father, killed his wife, Zahara. Terrible. This is terrible. And including his daughter too. Now, his name is Mojtaba, is described as the hardline fundamentalist with close ties to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. The president has previously vowed that he would kill any successor of Iran's leadership who assumed power without his permission. Who the hell does this guy think he is? Oh, you can't do that. No, I'm the emperor. Some people call me the Antichrist, but we're not there yet. We're not there yet. This, you understand how sick this makes me? It makes me feel to have to devour as reality right now. This has everything to do with the things we are not about in this country. It has everything to do with the reasons and the justifications for wars of yesteryear of preventing imperialist powers from doing the exact thing that we seem to be doing today as this country has been hijacked, and the exact thing that China has been doing in recent modern history. And, well, I should say Israel as well. This is exactly what we're not about. And I'm not going to lie through my teeth and be part of the peer pressure popularity game to say otherwise, because I would hate myself, and that's not hard to do. Okay, so in closing, so I guess we have a new objective now. It's stopping the nuclear program, stopping the fentanyl coming out of Iran, who clearly they don't, Iran didn't throw Hamas by the wayside and denounce them, so they're bad for that. And but it's also worth noting that Trump has now backed off his earlier threat to send U.S. troops to destroy Iran's uranium stockpile at the secret nuclear facility. Yeah, I like to see that happen. I mean, here's another thing. I was just the families that lost their sons and daughters recently, the 6 slain military personnel. What do you tell their families that they died for and the reasons? Because they've been unable to tell the American people thus far and the rest of the world why we're doing this. Anything that's, believable. What do you tell the families? Or do you say, well, actually, it's because there might have been some black sites underneath the city with the Dominion machines that we had to make sure were not in use. And that's why we had to do a bombing campaign. And you understand, right? Imagine that. We should have some of the alternative media all-star guys with the insiders, just knowledge, ring up the families to tell them all their inside information, rather than the big lie, which is the reality that's right in front of us. However, there's always room for coffee, and 99%, can't always be right. All right, so that's what we have now. Furious, there's fury in the White House too. Fury in the White House. Before we get to our last story, let me look at the live chats. What are people saying out there? What are your thoughts? Are we going to ever get out of the Middle East before the midterms? Are we going to be in perpetual war up until 2028 and beyond? Because I have a feeling we are, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts on that. All right, here we have Madeline saying over there on Rumble. Thank you. Timmy doesn't have anything on you. Timmy doesn't have anything on you, Dean. Thank you. Timmy who exactly? All right. Thank you for that. Things are a little slow on my end. Okay, here's another one. We have Egyptian princess who is taking my temperature. Are you sick? Sweating? Fever? Yeah, I do have a fever. Yeah, and the only cure is more cowbell. Thank you, Egyptian princess. It is summertime out here now in Southern California. It is in the late 80s. So I'm sweating to the oldies. What is this here? We have Mr. Dunham saying that it's a way for the folks to donate, but YouTube takes 30%. Oh, okay. I didn't. So do people not use the super chats anymore? I have to take your guys' word for it. I'm so not in the club there. But thank you for that. We have Mr. Corey Daniel, who is Boomer. Yeah, well, Corey's much older than me. I don't know why he says these words. Anyways. Corey and Neil together are deadly. They're a deadly combo. Okay, there's that one. Here we have this one. We have the return of Rage Against the Machine, a man who I love to see when I see him. Let's see what he says here. It says, Russ Dizdar and wife, rest in peace, the Black Awakening, rise of the Satanic Superstar. I'm not familiar with that. Did we lose somebody? We lost some more people? Okay. Sorry for that. And finally, yes, John, absolutely correct. This is crazy. Yeah, $5.89 is nothing for Orange County, Balboa Island player like Smooth Jazz player like Dean Ryan. Yeah, started my rounds in the jazz clubs with J.J. Sullivan, who's the rival saxophone player. To that, John, Balboa Island, you say, over there in Newport Beach. That's not a place I go. There's never parking. It is a nightmare. Lovely. It's a nightmare. Everything is just built together. It's very cramped. But thank you. You're right. Okay, here's another one here. We have, there's high alert somewhere. What's in the Epstein files? People are saying VHS tapes, Seth Black says, of people on. That's what I think it is. I think we're now entering the video portion of the Epstein files. And I think there's ways to determine if those are deep fakes. And I think if Trump really was not worried about what's in there, we wouldn't be going through all this, would we? But we have people who think otherwise. We have Rebel Mama who says, I believe Trump is playing whack-a-mole until he gets a leader he approves of. Well, that's not going to happen. The Iranian people will not kowtow to Donald Trump's, vision of what that region he's never been to should be, especially because we've killed so many people. I mean, imagine if this happened to the United States by China. And then China said, well, we had to take out Trump because he is an evil dictator. And so then the next in line would be J.D. Vance. That's not acceptable too. We would be vowing for revenge. I mean, imagine all the Bubbas in Texas. They'd be so pissed. They'd be locked, stocked, and loaded, pork rinds and all, with ammo. I mean, you can't even imagine that one. Okay, thank you, Rebel Mountain. Yeah, but he's not going to be happy until there's the right person. We have Egyptian princess who says about Trump, regarding Trump, says the following. I think that just a clown show. I think Trump has gone senile. Yeah, or they're poisoning him. You know, he was poisoned in the 1.0, but the amount of support has been lost. You know, if you look at it from a different angle too, you know, we talk about devolution of all the institutions. You know, we talk about how COG has been enacted. This could very well be the plan of finally devolving, I guess you could say, the devolution rather, of the federal government, the military-industrial complex, and both political parties as we know it. There was a kid who found, I don't know how he found it, like the secret plan of, you know, what the Q plan was going to be, I guess in 2017, and it was to create a new party in the middle and bring people together. The kid died, but he talked about like some of the players involved were Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and I could see that as potential. I wish I had that video. Okay, finally here, and then we'll do our final story here. Yeah, don't people get to vote? Yeah, you would think so, Margaret. You would think so. I mean, imagine if China said, no, you don't get to vote, or we did get to vote and we voted for the person that China didn't want. Who's going to say, okay, China, okay, I do what you say. You know, nobody's going to do that. And why would the Iranian people be any different? It's so shameful. It's kind of silly to Rumble Mania says it's kind of silly to try to put the sun in place. It's a death wish. Well, this is a religious figure. It's not, you know, the president, you know, so it's like if the Pope industry was if the Pope industry was a family business, like the Ayatollah industry, which clearly is a family business. So he's second in line, and that's how that trajectory, that monarch goes in a way. And you know, he's like that Antonio Montoya character from Princess Bride. You killed my father, you killed my daughter, you killed my wife, prepare to die. He has nothing to lose anymore. I'd be pissed too. But good point. Okay. Oh God. Yes, good on you. I'm sorry. Good on you, John, saying the following. I know a lot of people that moved out of California that are retirees. It didn't used to be that way. We got the flock out of California when we retired, moved to Auburn. Where's Auburn? It'll come back. A lot of people did. So when the retired go with all their money, they take their money with them. But that, you know, part of giving California, gifting it to the Chinese through special interests, part of that requires removing the people out of California. It just like we see in Canada, to gift Canada to the Chinese, and India for that fact, you have to get rid of Canadians. Okay, so I was supposed to show a Vladimir Putin. I think I showed that right, a Vladimir Putin video. I totally got sidetracked. You see the problem here? And if I showed this already, I apologize, but let's watch this again in case I need to take some notes. This is Vladimir Putin talking about the mysterious call, and I'm going to connect it with the India equation factor to it. It will make sense. But here's Mr. Vlad the Impaler, Putin, talking about what he's going to be doing with Europe going forward. And maybe that's what the call was about. And this should be chilling, if not damn near threatening.
That
Here it is.
EU countries from 25th of April plan to impose additional restrictions on Russian LNG and energy, all the way to imposing a complete ban on such supplies in 2028. In this regard, I've already instructed the government to evaluate the possibility of stopping energy supplies to the European market without waiting for the door to be shut in our face. And those volumes will be shifted to other markets that are more interesting and promising to us. Right now, the market situation is developing in such a way that if we make this transition right now, if we shift to markets that really need increased supplies, we will get a stable foothold there in markets where there is reliable demand and where there are reliable long-term relations. The states that are building long-term relations with Russia, constructive relationships with Russia.
Yeah, that is spot on. Let me add some context to that. Okay, and so basically, this is what's happening now. Putin has just declared that they're going to be controlling the oil that's going to be on the eastern hemisphere of this world. So Europe, and even going into places probably like England and maybe Israel, due to everything of what's happened in Iran. Plus the Strait of Hormuz is now closed. And get this now, the whole point of Venezuela and capturing that was to bring oil for us to conduct this war for Israel. However, all of the oil, all the barrels that we heard about, that what was it, BlackRock that was going to take control of, guess where they went to? Israel. We get nothing. And for a full oil refinery production of oil to come to the U.S. over there in Venezuela, it's going to take up to 6 months. You want to know about poorly planned wars? I mean, this is like junior high level, and so that's insulting, and yet again. And what they're going to tap Anwar over there in Alaska, and that's going to take a year. I mean, are we going to be back in this situation a year from now? I mean, we could be. They have their straw man with the new Ayatollah guy. So there's that one here. Okay, so here's some other things here before we get going here. Well, there's now a new leader in the world of tech. I did not see this coming. I guess I should have. The writings were on the wall. Well, now YouTube is now the world's largest media company, and it's only getting bigger. That's right. And clearly, because my show's here, people want to invest in YouTube. Although they still want me shadow banned, that's not the issue. They want to invest in YouTube. Well, here it is now. It's more than just cat videos, experts are saying. YouTube has now been crowned the world's largest media company, riding a years-long wave of user-generated videos. Yeah, they let a lot of people back on. I mean, they still have deceptive practices and measurements in very faulty analytics. But who am I, and who are they? Well, the video streaming service now, which is owned by the Alphabet company, Google, took the top spot last year with, get this now, $62.3 billion in revenue, according to data compiled by the, it doesn't matter, but narrowly beating $60.9 billion brought by Disney. That's right. Disney, who capitalized and destroyed the Star Wars franchise, made a lot of money. Unlike many other media companies that are facing shifts through the audience habits, challenges brought by the artificial intelligence that has pretty much decimated the voiceover world and industry for that fact. Well, they seem to be growing and thriving in a time of great calamity and chaos. YouTube's global scale and initiative offerings create an uncommonly high moat. One of the clients who is insulated in the investments has now stated. And now, what is YouTube valued? I mean, every company has a value, right? Well, YouTube is valued between $500 billion and $560 billion if it were a standalone company. So they seem to be thriving. Yeah. Where does that leave Rumble? No one asked. And you got to hand it. Look, when it comes down to tools, efficiency, easy to understand maneuverings, yeah, YouTube is by far the best. They have live chat replays where Rumble doesn't. You know, a lot of people like that live experience when they watch shows back. Not everybody can make the live videos or live shows. And Rumble doesn't. Rumble is like 5 years behind. So I don't know how they're ever going to compete with YouTube from that front when it's like the most laziest people run that organization. Anyways, I mean, not that I'm a fan of YouTube and their practicings, you know, their belief system, but you know what I mean. And finally here, final story of just complete bizarreness, weirdness. As I said in the beginning of the show, a lot of people seem to be going mental in this time of change, time of war. And that's certainly the case that took place just overnight in the city of Los Angeles. It pains me to share this story, but it's something that is now picking up in headlines of bizarre just incidences. Well, now a man bled to death after cutting off his own penis, apparently, and slicing his own throat on the street of Los Angeles. This is, I'm telling you, this is like a zombie kind of tragic death here. That's right. A man met a tragic end after cutting off his own member and bleeding to death in the downtown Los Angeles area. Horrified cops discovered a gruesome scene as the man sliced his throat open, stabbed himself, and tried to cut off his own arm. I mean, look, I've had some bad days before where I'm really pissed off and I hate the world, but not enough to do what this man did. I mean, maybe my arm, but the other, I don't know. Well, the LAPD responded to a call about the man who was self-mutilating around 3:40 in the morning, shortly after the witching hour of 3:33 a.m. This took place at, the discovery was 3:40 a.m. Coincidence? A white tent was swiftly erected, unlike the man's member, which was of no use, as officers dealt with the horrific incident, protecting bystanders from seeing the body. And thank God we had cops for that moment. I won't show you the graphic footage, for I fear that I'll lose my lunch. Now, the LAPD, who is totally not corrupt, just totally fair and honest, they're handling the probe into the incident, which happened at the intersection of Figueroa Street and Pico. So, according to my account, that's near Skid Row, where people just get dumped off there. They don't get dumped off in mental wards anymore. But who is the man? Does he have a face? Does he have a name? Does he have tone? We know what he doesn't have anymore, but who is this guy? Are you going to leave us hanging like the Canadians did with their secret shooter incident? Well, the 55-year-old man, as they're now describing, is a South American woman. Or excuse me. This comes, there's an addition to this. It comes after a woman allegedly, so this is where it comes into play. A week prior, it comes into play after a woman sliced off her partner's member, in addition, before going shopping last month over there in LA. And she's described as a South American woman, allegedly, stabbing the attack before leaving the 67-year-old European partner to bleed to death. So this seems to be a common occurrence. I'm telling you. And he's 67, which where I am in 67 degrees every single day. So she was arrested, but again, they're not telling us who this guy is. And there's another man that did the same thing just a year ago, it appears. So what is this really about? Why is this taking place? Mind control, MK Ultra, and these bizarre stories that happen, they usually take place, beta testing, If people have the nanotech in them, they're trying to see if they could just maneuver people's thinkings to pretty much put a wet blanket on uprisings from happening, or even worse, turn people into saboteurs. And so you never know. There could be a testing around there. Where the Elisa Lam incident took place in the water tank and tower in 2013, which I subsequently wound up, staying 3 days and 4 nights, or was it 2 days and 3 nights, at the same kind of hotel that she was at, unbeknownst to me. But when we did a special in that whole area where Skid Row is, the fashion district in downtown LA, there are so many CIA storefronts, you'd be surprised. And with the CIA storefronts in places like downtown LA, in this case with Elisa Lam, who it was a bizarre story. Again, all these bizarre stories happen in downtown LA for a reason. Well, we found out there was a group of students who were taking part in a study backed by the Central Intelligence Agency regarding something called cloaking. If you don't know what cloaking is, it's the new weaponry of the future that pretty much makes you invisible. They have the technology. And I happen to believe they were testing the technology on people like Elisa Lam. And if you see the video of her doing all this, touching her and stuff, because somebody had to have helped her get through that window into the water tank. There's no way she did that by herself. And I think the same thing is happening here in LA. Certainly it's happening in our national forests. I mean, all the missing people. I mean, there's something of that nature happening there. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to get out of here. Tomorrow night, we have the return of the great Jim Fetzer. If you were a member, you might have seen it this past weekend. Jim and I were doing our our band rehearsal because March 19th coming up, I should mention, March 19th already is our 6-year anniversary, and we're just going to keep it light. And I don't think we'll have all of our facilities back by then, but we're going to keep it light and fun and whimsical and musical, celebrating 6 years around the sun with all of you. And thankfully, a lot of you are still here, and I am trying to be still here. Okay, so that's that. So that'll be tomorrow night. All right, on that note, I'm going to get out of here. And as we close the sleeper cell diplomacy, and we were prepared for this. We know what the sleeper cells, who they're working for. We know who they truly could be, probably are. And we know what this war is and truly what it's not. And justified is definitely what it's not. But the true anger of the American people really almost matches, I wouldn't say, but it's on the same trajectory as the people of Iran and regular people, normal people who don't deserve or want any of this. They just want to go about their lives like we all do. So we hope for the best outcome for everybody. Okay, on that note, I'll be out of here. See everyone tomorrow night for another Late Night Update as we dwindle down the episodes of Late Night Update until the return of World at War. I can't wait. So for all of us here at Late Night Update, I'm Dean Ryan saying thank you for sharing a bit of this late night. Until next time, always remember to stay tuned and stay awake. Good night, everybody.